This is going to be part
Do you smell
2,
fried chicken?
and this is going to be a less centrist version of one of my other videos about society is
Want
not
to grab
changing.
lunch and food first?
So I'm going to start off as if I'm starting from scratch again. So I just saw a video of Rupert Lowe from Restore UK, a rip-off of Reform UK, the name itself. And he was saying our society is changing beyond all recognition. And the thing is, our society is not actually changing. And the reason why is because of, weaponized conservatism, or right-wing actors now, all far right-wing actors. They're all actively making sure that society remains stupid and remains ignorant. That that people are not voting down to policy. People are not voting by actually reading about each party's policies. People are just voting by what they see online. And our society is not changing because the right wing, or like conservatives, and it's all because of they just don't want to see anti-bigotry being taught in schools. I came across this recently where whenever something good is wanting to be taught, like social emotional learning, and social emotional learning, they fear that it might start teaching like ethics about certain groups and like combat their type of discrimination. So the only reason why they go against social emotional learning, for instance, which is just implementing more psychological elements into schools and things, anything good that tries to be implemented, they like the conservatives, the conservative politicians, they just make excuses. They just make the excuse about the nanny state, which is just a talking point that they use to make sure that the government doesn't do anything. There's, the right wing is on an active mission to lie about the field of psychology and lie about mental illnesses, to the point of sometimes flat out saying either, this mental health issue doesn't exist, or that mental health issue doesn't exist, or lying, saying mental health has gone too far in a mental health crisis where there's a complete lack of psychological and mental health comprehension. People don't have psychological, literacy training. They don't teach that in schools. They don't teach that at home. Our society isn't going to change as long as you have these far right-wing fascist actors where that's all they have is scapegoating minorities and weaponizing religious people by, not teaching about, the modern understanding of facts of modern day gender. But yeah, like our society is not changing, and I think that conservative parties like Tories, Restore, and Reform, they're just against everything that's good, and anything that's good and taught in schools, they just call woke. The bastardized version that they've created of woke, or what they call wokeism. Anything that's good that's done, they're just going to label as woke because they're against everything that will be good. They're against teaching like DEI and teaching like anti-discrimination. They're against teaching social emotional learning. They're against people being diagnosed with mental health issues. There's a reason why they talk about overdiagnosis only. Not only just because they don't want people to be. They just they don't want people to be diagnosed because they only care about it because they just don't want more people to be in benefits and claiming money that they actually desperately need in order to survive. And it's just like, unless you improve social programs in your society, which is only things that the left thing wants to improve, they're not going to do things to put British people first. It's just like the con that I've realised with immigration. is that if they were like, so the argument that they have about immigration is that, you know, we by focusing on people coming into the country, we're not focusing on British people. But the thing is you can't cut immigration, cut taxes, cut social programs, and cut the government, and expect to improve society and to put British people first. You're not going to put British people first unless you invest in social programs, unless you invest in social emotional learning and financial literacy and media literacy and critical thinking in schools. You know, like the right wing, you know, people on benefits, you know, people struggling with mental health issues and, you know, like attitude problems and behavioural problems, you know, ultimately is ultimately going to lead to homelessness. So if you're like attacking people on benefits and teaching people not to have a compassion towards people on benefits, then you're not going to help them, and you're just going to lead to more people being homeless. So they're ultimately not going to put British people first. You know, conservatism has been replaced with fascism or corruptionism, or like fascistic stagnationism or whatever. You know, and you know, when they get into power, they're going to send, like, if Reform get into power, they're going to force like their extreme version of Christianity in schools. They're going to force white Christian nationalism into schools, not actual normal real Christianity and the teachings of Jesus. They're just going to teach, you know, they're just going to, you know, that's going to send society backwards. That's not going to improve society. You know, we need to find a way of finding a balance between, you know, respecting religion and also having secularism, where all religions are respected equally. You know, forcing religion in schools isn't going to do anything, and in fact, it's just going to create more problems. And you know, eventually, they just want to teach creationism and magic in schools. That's what it's going to end up leading to. And it's just like, that's not going to change society. That's going to make society change and improve. You know, and like, you know, society as a whole. So anyway, I'm going to leave that as part one. Part one is usually where I say, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm using this to take a quick breather, and whether I'll stop the video or not, I don't know. But it's just like the poverty or austerity loving direction that they're going in. You know, if they copy Donald Trump's bad economic decisions, you know, like this whole like poverty and they call it poverty and austerity is the reason why people are fleeing other countries. The way I look at it, and like forcing Christianity is like forcing theocracy, like an Eastern theocracy in our society, which is the reason why people are fleeing other Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran and Iraq. You know, people don't want to live in a theocracy, and then turning society into a Christian theocracy is actually going to create our own British immigration problem. So these people have no intention, these fake conservatives, these corruptionist actors have no intention of changing society, and they're the reason why society isn't improving. And you know, with all this disinformation online, they're actually intentionally teaching people ignorance and stupidity. You know, they're saying, oh, I don't see the value in philosophy as much as other people. I see the value in empiricism. Philosophy and empiricism are the same thing. Empiricism is like a branch or school within the field of philosophy. And then these anti-intellectuals are saying, I don't see the value in philosophy. You know, they're the reason why society isn't changing. They're the reason why society isn't improving. And, you know, based on the extension of the last video, We're heading into a dark age in the next 20, 30 years. It's going to come to fruition in like 5 years, and it's going to take 15 years for it to, fade and stop or whatever. But and they're the ones that are bringing in this dark age, because they don't want to teach psychological literacy if they're lying about mental health issues, and they want to bring back the stigma of mental health. They want to stop people having open discussion and talking about their mental health issues online. And it's better having open discussion rather than having a society that inspires people to keep their mouths shut about their mental illness. We need to share our mental health stories more in order to help people to understand what we are going through. So anyway, that's the video. Please like and subscribe. Do what you gotta do in the videos. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you. Try to watch some more videos if you can. Please share videos, philosophy videos with other people as much as you can. I much appreciate it. Thank you very, very so much. That's the video. And we need progressive conservatism to change the world and make the world a better place. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye.